China hits Alibaba with a record-breaking $2.8 billion fine for behaving like a monopoly. This is a CNN business story. China has ordered Alibaba to pay that $2.8 billion after antitrust regulators concluded that the online shopping giant had been behaving like a monopoly. Chinese state media reported Saturday that the State Administration for Market Regulation has imposed a penalty following an antitrust investigation to Alibaba's exclusive dealing agreements that prevented merchants from selling products on rival e-commerce platforms, a practice known as choosing one from two. The fine is equivalent to 4% of Alibaba's sales in China in 2019, state news agency reported. In an open letter published on Saturday, Alibaba said that the company has cooperated with the investigation and accepted the penalty with sincerity and will ensure our compliance with determination. Right? Now, let me give you some timelines here. 10/24. You know what happened on October 24th? Ma gave that speech criticizing regulators. November 3rd, Ma Ant-IPO was halted in Hong Kong. You remember? We talked about it on the podcast.
Sure. Jack went missing.
Jack went missing right around 2 days after 10/24. Jack went missing. Okay? On 11/10, November 10th, Beijing drafts an anti-monopoly rules for internet. That's November 10th. They write it. That's 3 weeks after his speech. December 24th, Beijing launches antitrust probe into Ma's Alibaba organization, and they summon Ant executives. That's on December 24th, day before Christmas Eve. December 27th, Beijing demands Ant overhaul. This is December 27th, okay? Now this is 2 months after Ma's speech. February 7th, Beijing releases a new anti-monopoly rule for internet. This is new. Remember the first one they did that on November 10th? Well, 3 months later, they did a new one that they released on anti-monopoly. On 4/10, April 10, 2 days ago, they fine them $2.8 billion. You know what they're saying? Hey, entrepreneurs, don't mess with us. You're not bigger than us. We can do whatever we want to do to you. U.S. can do the same thing, if they want to crypto, to write new rules and regulations. Janet Yellen is salivating. Your girl, she's salivating to get her hands on crypto today. They're salivating. Now,
is that why she keeps dogging it?
Of course.
Yeah.
And you'll hear a lot of them saying things like the following. You'll see crypto community say, if you really understand Bitcoin, you would know they can never regulate it, okay? Which I get the argument there. But if you really understand the track record of the U.S. government and government period, they have always figured out a way to regulate whatever the hell they want to regulate, because you, crypto community, are competition to them.
Correct.
The best news here is the big dogs are also entering the crypto space. JP Morgan Chase, Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, all these guys. So that's what I mean when you say, what is your biggest concern? That's what I mean by it. What China's doing, U.S. could potentially do as well.
Yeah, but that's not all bad to have some sort of regulation around crypto. To have to prevent fraud, first and foremost.
It depends on who you're saying that to.
Yeah.
You have an audience that's going to say, we agree with you. You have an audience that's going to say, what the hell are you talking about, Adam? Here you go again with more regulation and buying into what Janet Yellen wants to do with the new regulations. Yeah. Okay? Just giving you both sides of the argument.
Jerome Powell has also come out and said that they're going to potentially work on a digital dollar from the U.S. government, not to compete with the dollar, but to complement the U.S. dollar.
Well, they have already. You know when they say they're printing money, how do you think they print the money? It's digitally. They don't print the dollars like go print it. The dollar is printed digitally. Not 100% of money that they print is in printing press.
You just blew my mind. I didn't know that. I thought they literally printed the money.
No, they print digitally. Even they themselves have digital currency that's fiat, right?
I mean, hard cash currency is only a small part of the economy.
Exactly.
Yes.
Well, now
exactly. Digital printing is what they're doing. Go ahead.
Ma is clearly in the crosshairs. This is only his nightmare's only beginning. And, frankly, it's a communist country. I think he should be very grateful the fact that he built what he did and was able to. A couple of the things that, Xi is the president is the one that literally personally shut down the IPO. He's the one that made the decision personally all by himself. The other thing that the Chinese government is doing here is they're trying to go after Alibaba's data, right? Because they have 1 billion customers. They have all this information on their buying habits, on their credit habits. And that's another thing that Alibaba and Ant Group has turned into, is almost like a bank in China. They're giving out low interest loans. And that's the other thing that's interfering with what China's trying to do. So, not only has his profile gone down, he still has not been seen in public. Jack Ma has not made a public appearance. He did that tape thing in front of the school maybe in January, and that was the first sighting of it all. But he hasn't been out in public either. So this is very interesting. He's worth $47 billion right now. Alibaba is huge. It's Chinese Amazon. It's incredible, and it's not going anywhere now that people are used to buying everything online. But this is something really, really interesting to follow. And whatever happens to him, he could never leave. Maybe he's out of the country. Do you think he could just pack up and leave and be gone? Maybe he's done there. Who knows?
Oh, but what leaves with you? The problem isn't leaving. You know the guy spoke to Metakoven who bought Beeple's NFT for $69 million. He said the reason why I'll never move to the States is because of the fingerprints and all the way of controlling you. He says, I don't even want to go into the U.S. system because once I'm there, they're not even letting me take my money with me. So imagine if so many people in America are worried that if they leave, your money's tied up, you can't take it out. Right. This is why they criticize offshore accounts.
America.
That's America, let alone China.
Yeah.
So you think the guy can take his money from China? Yeah. He may be worth $50 billion in China. He's probably worth $500,000 in a different country.
Unless he stashed some of it over the years and could see this coming. Because how could this party not end for him? There is no way you could think that you could continue to drive this thing like an American
Let me give you another
company.
situation. Say he moves to Singapore. You think they would still find a way to go get him? You
Hell
think
yeah.
You mean extradite him and physically bring him back?
You talking about the CCP?
Of course.
Yeah.
Take him, go to UK. You think they would say, you better give him to us? He has to go to a country that hates China and is not allies with China, that wouldn't sit there and say, we're not going to do anything. So it's Jack Ma is not bigger than China. No one in China is bigger than China. Yeah, so it's...
Well, like you said, this is a lesson for all entrepreneurs in China. Look at this last quote that we talked about on this segment. In an open letter published on Saturday, Alibaba said the company has cooperated with the investigation and accepted the penalty with sincerity and will ensure our compliance and determination.
Right.
You think they're happy about this? You think they're happy about their $2.8 billion fine?
Yeah.
No, but they learned their lesson, and this is a lesson for every other entrepreneur, every other country, every other company saying, let's shut our mouths.
I've got the perfect advice for Jack Ma. This is what he should have done. He should have moved to America and married Mackenzie Bezos. He's a former school teacher. She would have loved him.
That's a good point.
She would have been all over
You know what?
that.
Screwmatch.com. How about Zenner.com?
Yeah, there it is.
Zenner.com matches billionaires together. It's only got 400 members. It's only got 2,200 members.
And another callback that we can talk about last episode with Ricky, we talked about the communist component of it, the government component of it, but also the capitalist component of it. It's a weird situation here where you're free to be an entrepreneur and
to an extent.
To an extent.
But
then the government steps in and So
to an extent where you have to bow down and realize your voice cannot be more powerful than the voice. So there's one thing that's missing in China. It's called what? Freedom of speech. You don't have freedom of speech in China, right? Let's just face it. You just don't have freedom of speech in China. Okay. What do people who win want to do? What do smart, brilliant people...
Do what the hell they want to do. Say what they want to say.
By the way, think about it. To go a little bit even deeper, do you have some opinions that you want to share with the world?
Yeah.
Do you have some ideas about how you can make China better? Do you have some ideas what you can do to make the government of China better? Do you have some ideas? If you're any intellectual human being where you got like, what if we did it this way? Like imagine me saying, hey, we should have a 15% tax on tourists, right? And the next thing you know, Vitamin podcast disappears. BBD podcast disappears. It's gone.
Pat hasn't seen.
Where is
And that's exactly what Ma did.
That's the point. You can't do that in China.
But don't you think Jack Ma knew that before he said something? Couldn't he be that naive?
No, I bet.
You think he didn't know that?
I think you get very comfortable in a situation like that. Remember that Dog and Pony show that he came out to the U.S. and was, going to Silicon Valley, going to Wall Street, being treated like a god, coming to Hollywood.
Yeah.
I believe you can believe some of that in your mind and you think you're untouchable.
Look, the thing over there with Jack Ma, the only thing I can speculate, again, this is speculation. The only thing I can speculate is the following. So, The Rock, right? 220-something million followers on Instagram. He keeps coming out with a new product every other day. Okay, I love his products that we mix with Under Armour. When he comes out with it, I like it. I support it. So he's retweeted some of my stuff. Hey, PBD, thanks for, buying the products. I like his gears. Quite frankly, I never liked Under Armour shoe. It sucked.
No, it's horrible.
Until The Rock showed up.
I didn't even know he had one. I'm going to check it out. We were just talking about how ugly Under Armour shoes the other day.
The Rock's shoes are the flipping bomb.
I'm checking it
with
out.
Under Armour. No joke. They're so comfortable. I love them.
Pull it
They're
up,
so
guys.
Remember how
comfortable.
bad Steph Curry's shoe was?
It was
like 5
ugly.
years
Under
ago, it was
Armour
hideous.
sucked with shoes.
Yeah,
I like their
Really?
outfits. I hated their shoes.
By the way, shout out to Steph Curry. He scored 50-something
Will
points
Chamberlain
last
passed
night.
him up. Not 50-something points, but he scored.
No, last night he scored 53 points, I want to say.
Did he score 53 points?
Yeah.
Oh, he had
And
10 threes. That's right.
And he
had 10
became
threes.
the leading scorer in Golden State
Yeah, look
Warrior
at
history.
they're not like this right here. That's the one I bought. they're so comfortable when you slip them on, right?
They,
the Rock
they
shoes.
kind of look European. Those
They
white,
look very. So
semi-high
he's
tops.
killing it. Just
Love it.
go to the red shoes of Rock. Look at these shoes he
With the
creates.
bull
So,
on it, huh?
so he kills it with shoes. Then he goes and kills it with his
Tequila.
Tequila.
Have you tried it?
I have not.
I have.
Is it good?
If you're used to drinking Casamigos, which I am, if
Yeah.
I drink tequila,
Yeah.
it's Casamigos. It tastes nothing like that. It doesn't have that kind of agave vibe to
Why
it, so
don't
it's
we?
totally different.
Are you here Thursday? Or why don't we? Are you here next
I'm
week?
not
or-
on the podcast
Okay,
Thursday.
Why don't we order a bottle? And on the podcast, I've
a
never
blind
had
taste
it. Have
test
you
or
ever had it or no?
No, I have not.
So you and I have never had it. I've never had it. Let's do a sample on the podcast and
Okay.
see what it tastes
And
Are
I'll
like.
you
tell you-
saying that we're gonna do some day drinking? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, it tastes
research.
a little bit. Is
By the
fine.
way, I will say this
I gotta
about the
have to
Rocks
Uber
vodka.
home later.
It's economical. It's $32 for a decent sized bottle. That would be $48 for Casamigos.
Good for him.
I agree.
He's killing it.
I will
Save that
buy
money.
it just
So then
because
he
the
comes out
price.
with the Zoa water. Let's get a bottle of that as well. It's so funny. We're not even doing a sponsorship here.
This episode is brought to you by The Rock, by Under
I
Armour.
guess we're voting for
let-
president
tequila.
for him.
But here's where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
The only thing I start off by saying I'm speculating. So my speculation was what? My speculation is Jack Ma sitting there saying, what's next for me? I'm the richest man in China. The world knows me. I'm the most influential man in China. When you think about China, you don't even know. Most people don't know China's president or prime minister. They know Jack Ma more than they know him. That probably
More than
rubs
Xi? Yeah.
more than Xi. That probably rubs him the wrong way. Not Ma. That probably rubs Xi the wrong way. So he says, what if I make a run at it? So when you want to make a run at politics, what do you have to do? You have to start talking and giving some political messages for people to kind of say, I like this. Look what happened when the guy in China, in Russia did it. Putin comes out and says, I can go on what do you call it? Another
3 terms.
3 terms,
Yeah.
2 terms.
I'm
and
also
he
the
signed it
sexiest
off.
man in Russia.
Yeah,
in the history
exactly.
of Russia.
So China's saying that's not how we choose prime ministers and presidents here. That's not how we choose it. We choose in a completely different way. So if you enjoyed this little short segment from the podcast that we did, here's another short segment to watch. Or if you want to see the entire podcast, click over here. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.